I took a trip to New York last week. It was for a professional conference, and I brought my mirrorless camera, my Nikon Z5, with just one lens, my 28 to 400 millimeter Z lens. I brought that lens because I didn't want to bring a lot of camera equipment. I would have needed at least 3 different lenses to get everything I wanted with, now I could do it with just one lens, the 28 to 400. Even though it was a professional conference that I was going to, I was taking an excursion onto the Hudson River and New York Bay there to see the Statue of Liberty, which is one of my, almost like a bucket list for me. And so regardless, I was going to go see that. And that's really what I designed or created my camera kit for. The other problem was that I didn't want to carry a lot of equipment. I don't have a Pelican case to lock everything up in and then ship it with the airline. Things do get lost that way, so I wanted to do this as a carry-on. And that means that I took and put a body plug on my camera and took and plugged up both ends of my lens and put them in my carry-on. And I didn't have any problem whatsoever. As we go along, I'll show you some of the photos, and I'll tell you the focal lengths of these photos, and you'll see that I would have had to bring 3 different lenses to get all the shots I wanted. All right, so the first shot is of what we call cloud buildings. It's really Manhattan. It was taken with 28 millimeter, which is the widest focal length of my lens, and as you can see, it still is absolutely gorgeous. The next photo that's coming up is what they call Water's Soul. It's the sculpture which is somewhat controversial because New Yorkers feel like it is directed at them, telling them to be quiet. But the artist says that the sculpture is asking everyone to just listen to the voice of the water as it speaks to us about the origin of the world. This is a longer view. It's 70 millimeter. Close-up view is 240 millimeters. Now the next buildings with a sunburst are in New Jersey. I lined it up to get the sunburst effect while in the boat. This was on that tour around the boat in the Hudson River. The aperture was only f11 and the focal length was at its widest at 28 millimeter again. The next building is the building with a clock, and I don't remember the name of this. They did tell us while we were on the tour, but I was busy shooting and just didn't pay attention. It's at 105 millimeter focal length, and it was just really, I thought, just a nice photo. The next one you're going to see is of the Statue of Liberty. There are some facts, that you need to know up first. These photos were carefully planned. The focal lengths, respectively, are 66 millimeter, 240 millimeter, and 43 millimeter. Having a super zoom like I did, the 28 to 400 gave me the freedom to be able to compose the lenses, the shots with the lens like I wanted. On a personal note, this was truly an emotional time for me. Seeing the Statue of Liberty, I taught U.S. history for a number of years, decades really, and this is the first time that I saw it in person, and it was very important to me. The next one, as we move along, is the Staten Island Ferry. This one is really quite famous. This was taken at 105 millimeter focal length. After that is Castle Clinton. And Castle Clinton is really pretty interesting. George Washington had this built to protect the New York Harbor, the Hudson River, from incursion by the British. If you look closely at the top, you can see the cannon. It was never fired. It's painted black, and it's just kind of a bump up there. And, like I said, it was never fired. They never had to protect the Hudson, or never got a chance to protect the Hudson River during the Revolutionary War. After that comes the Brooklyn Bridge, and everybody knows about the Brooklyn Bridge. And, you know, again, I was on a boat, so I had to get the shots that I could get. This is of the, let's see, I think it would be the North Tower. And so it is, again, this one is wide at 28 millimeters. You know, at some point I had to be a tourist, and I just enjoyed myself and looked and enjoyed the New York skyline. After that comes City Pier A. That one I shot at a 79 millimeter length. It's just, you know, there's a lot of history there, a lot of beautiful buildings, a mix of buildings. It is just, like I said, New York was a surprise for me. It's truly one of the first, well, at least Manhattan is one of the truly first vertical cities that I've been around. In fact, the next one is One World Trade Center. Here we have some facts just up, you know, besides the focal lengths, but the focal lengths are 95 millimeter, 33 millimeter, and 79 millimeter. Again, because I had that super telephoto, I had that freedom to be able to compose without having to make changes on the fly with my lenses to get the composition that I wanted. There is one thing about the World Trade Center, this One World Trade Center. I was there at 9/11 this year, but unfortunately, one of the people in my small party became ill, and we weren't able to attend the event that was happening at the World Trade Center commemorating 9/11 back when it was the World Trade Centers and they were destroyed. The next one that we come along is the Empire State Building. Here's some facts up first. The focal lengths, respectively, are 95 and 185. As you can see, I was all over making the compositions that I wanted to make. And just the freedom of that lens and knowing that I made the right choice for where I was going and what I wanted to shoot was very important to me. This is an iconic building, of course. It's been in many, many movies. One that I really enjoy is, of course, Sleepless in Seattle. The next photo that I'm showing you is just a nighttime shot of a group of buildings. I thought it was really it was beautiful. It was, of course, 28 millimeter at 1/25th of a second, f4. It was just a beautiful shot, and I wanted to get that. The next shot, of course, the next one is of the boat that I was on. And as you can see, it is a boat made for excursions. They loaded about 200 of us, 150, 200 people on there, and then we cruised the harbor. It takes about an hour and a half. It was the best $30 I ever spent. This one I shot at 41 millimeters at f5, 1/20th of a second, and I was able to hold it ISO at 400. These next videos are showing some of the trip back home. The airplane landing and the car trip from Eugene to Florence, where I live. And it was just really, I was glad to get home. I was glad to have gone to New York and had this opportunity to see a beautiful city. I, certainly could never live there. And I tell you what, I'm never going to drive there. If you want to go someplace, there's a subway, there's your feet, and there is taxis. If you need to go someplace, take a taxi. I got to tell you, the driving around there is a nightmare. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, stay tuned. Please subscribe. It's very important to us that you do that. It helps us continue to make these videos.